Imagine a quiet vineyard nestled in the fertile hills of Jezreel, a patch of paradise cherished by its owner. This was the humble domain of Naboth, a man whose name would become synonymous with injustice and tragic fate. His refusal to give up his family's vineyard to King Ahab made him a symbol of righteous defiance and a victim of the corrupt king's greed. Naboth's story, recounted in the Bible, is a powerful narrative about the collision between personal integrity and royal ambition, setting the stage for a dramatic and sorrowful chapter in the history of Israel. Naboth was a humble vineyard owner who lived in Jezreel, a region in the northern kingdom of Israel. His story is found in the Old Testament, specifically in 1 Kings chapter 21. His vineyard was adjacent to the palace of King Ahab, who was one of Israel's most infamous rulers. The king desired the vineyard to use it as a vegetable garden and offered Naboth a fair exchange or a better vineyard in return, as stated in 1 Kings 21, verses 2-3 NIV. Ahab said to Naboth, "Let me have your vineyard to use for a vegetable garden, since it is close to my palace. In exchange, I will give you a better vineyard, or if you prefer, I will pay you whatever it is worth." But Naboth replied, "The Lord forbid that I should give you the inheritance of my ancestors." Naboth's refusal was not merely a personal defiance. It was rooted in the deep cultural and religious significance of ancestral land. According to Mosaic law, the land was considered a divine inheritance, not to be sold or traded lightly. 1 Kings 21 verse 4 NIV reads, "So Ahab went home, sullen and angry, because Naboth the Jezreelite had said, 'I will not give you the inheritance of my ancestors.' He lay on his bed sulking and refused to eat." Here, Ahab's response highlights his inability to cope with denial or adversity. His actions resembled those of a sulking child rather than a strong leader. And then enters his wife, Jezebel, one of the most notorious figures in the Bible, who saw her husband's dejection and took matters into her own hands. She took control of the situation with ruthless efficiency, showcasing her manipulative and unscrupulous nature. Upon seeing her husband's dejection, she devised a sinister plan to eliminate Naboth and seize his vineyard. 1 Kings chapter 21, verses 5-7 NIV states, "His wife Jezebel came in and asked him, 'Why are you so sullen? Why won't you eat?' He answered her, 'Because I said to Naboth the Jezreelite, sell me your vineyard, or if you prefer, I will give you another vineyard in its place.' But he said, 'I will not give you my vineyard.' Jezebel his wife said, 'Is this how you act as king over Israel? Get up and eat. Cheer up. I will get you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite.'" Thus, distressed by Naboth's refusal, Queen Jezebel orchestrates a scheme to have Naboth falsely accused of blasphemy and treason. Jezebel's ruthless plan involved forging letters in Ahab's name, instructing the elders and nobles of Jezreel to falsely accuse Naboth of blasphemy. She arranges for false witnesses to testify against him, leading to his stoning and death, as stated in 1 Kings 21, verses 9-10 NIV. In those letters, she wrote, "Proclaim a day of fasting and seat Naboth in a prominent place among the people. But seat 2 scoundrels opposite him, and have them bring charges that he has cursed both God and the king. Then take him out and stone him to death." And that's exactly what happened. Naboth was falsely accused, unfairly tried, and brutally executed. Once he was out of the way, Ahab took possession of the vineyard, as narrated in 1 Kings 21, verses 15-16 NIV. As soon as Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned to death, she said to Ahab, Get up and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, that he refused to sell you. He is no longer alive, but dead." When Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, he got up and went down to take possession of Naboth's vineyard. However, the story doesn't end there. God sent the prophet Elijah to confront Ahab and pronounce judgment on him and his house. Elijah the prophet confronts Ahab, delivering a message of divine judgment for the murder of Naboth and the usurpation of his land. 1 Kings 21 verse 19 NIV states, "Say to him, this is what the Lord says. Have you not murdered a man and seized his property? Then say to him, this is what the Lord says. In the place where dogs licked up Naboth's blood, dogs will lick up your blood. Yes, yours." And ultimately, that prophecy came true. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel faced divine judgment for their actions against Naboth. Ahab died in battle against the Arameans. He was wounded and died in his chariot, and his body was later washed in a pool of Samaria, where dogs licked up his blood, fulfilling Elijah's prophecy of divine judgment. Jezebel's fate was even grimmer. After Naboth's death and Elijah's prophecy, Jehu was chosen to replace Ahab's family, and he came to Jezreel. Jezebel tried to look regal from a window, but Jehu ordered her servants to throw her out. She fell to her death and was trampled by horses. Later, dogs ate most of her remains, just as Elijah had predicted. This marked a fitting end to their cruel and ruthless rule, demonstrating God's judgment for Naboth's murder. So what's the takeaway from Naboth's story? It is a powerful testament to the consequences of greed, corruption, and injustice. Despite his integrity and rightful ownership of his vineyard, Naboth was falsely accused and executed through the schemes of Queen Jezebel, who acted to satisfy King Ahab's desires. This act of profound injustice led to a divine judgment pronounced by the prophet Elijah, resulting in the violent and fitting ends of both Ahab and Jezebel. Their downfall, marked by prophetic fulfillment, underscores the inevitability of divine justice and the ultimate vindication of those wronged by unscrupulous power. Naboth stood firm in his integrity, but the injustice he faced didn't go unnoticed. In the end, divine justice prevailed, showing that the wheels of justice might turn slowly, but they turn surely. So that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Let us know in the comments what other stories you would like to hear about. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay curious. Thank you.